Hey, it's Joe Waxman, and I'm back with another video. Today, I want to talk about Leo, all about Leo, the Leo archetype, and Leo Ascendant. So, Leo's the fifth sign, and like I've been saying, that is significant. Some people think that doesn't matter. It actually matters a lot. It means a lot. The number 5, and as we get to number 5, we get to something a little more complex. 5 is a prime number, unlike number 4, which we know breaks down into 2 and 2. So 5 being a prime number, and this is significant, it holds itself together. Like number 3 is a prime number. I guess 2 is considered a prime number as well. But as we get higher and higher, it matters like whether it's prime or not prime and how the numbers break down. Now, number 5 is, so let me just share my screen because I want to just bring up some images just to show. I can't get to this thing's, oh, there we go. Okay, first image is the pentagon, because it's got five sides and 5 points, right? And there's a reason why we have the pentagon as the pentagon, because 5 is such a powerful number, right? 3 is the triangle, right? And then 5 is the pentagon. And 5 is also the pentagram, right? 5-pointed star. And 5 is also, by the way, 5 fingers, 5 and 5 toes. It's very significant. Also, in Eastern philosophy, Asian philosophy, they have the 5 transformations. It's different from the 4 elements, but this is exactly how it's classified: metal, water, tree, fire, soil, right? And this is the harmonious cycle around. So the pentagon, you could say like pentagon is the harmonious 5-sided symbol, and pentagram is the conflicting 5-sided figure, 5-pointed figure. So anyway, that's just something to think about. But 5 is a very unique number because of the prime indications. And I'm just going to go back to full screen for a minute. So let's see. I mean, there's a lot that you can get from that. Number 1, that if it's prime, then it's not going to sort of fall in on itself, like number 4. And number 4 has this association with death. So we don't have an association with death. In other words, the ones that are 4, 8, and 12, those are the water houses, water signs. They're not prime. They can fall in on themselves because they're divisible by 2. They're not the only ones that are divisible by 2, but they do have a certain association with death, with endings. And there are other houses, signs that are associated with death for different reasons. Sometimes number 7 is Libra, 7th house. Interestingly enough, I know you probably wouldn't expect that, but in Vedic astrology it is. Capricorn, Saturn, also associated with death. Anyway, so Leo is the 5th sign. It's fixed fire, ruled by the sun, and it's the 2nd fire sign. The number 5, we have 5 fingers, so there is something very, very dynamic and powerful about it. The prime numbers really, beyond, I don't know, I guess 1 is not considered a prime number. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but 2 is, it has to be divisible by itself, and 1, and then 3 is, then 5 is, 7 is, and then 11 is. So all 3 air signs, and the first 2 fire signs, I guess you could say, and the first earth sign. But interesting that all 3 air signs are. but the prime number is significant. It doesn't break down. It keeps its energy strong, if you can envision that. And there's less of a hidden quality to it. It's more upfront, direct. Between yin and yang, the prime numbers are more yang. So it's ruled by the sun. And with that, there's a whole lot of connotations that we can get from that. Number one, the ego. The ego is very strong in Leos. I mean, I'm sure we've all noticed that. It's the sign where the ego gets developed, gets realized. It's unlike the Aries signification, where it's not really the sense of the ego as much as it is the sense of just not being aware of others. In Leo, we are starting to be aware of others, but it's really about the development of the self, the perfection of the individual. So ego is super big in Leo. So is pride. Leos have tremendous pride. Doesn't matter what planet it is, Sun, Moon, Mars, Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, Ascendant. I have Mars and Saturn in Leo. So I have some Leo, believe me, I have some Leo in me. The soul is significated by Leo, being that the sun just has incredible significance within our solar system. Soul, right? Is that a coincidence? I don't think so. Intelligence, basic intelligence really comes with Leo. And this is different from intellect. Remember I said with Gemini, we have the development of the intellect. With Leo, we have the development of intelligence. And it's not that other signs will not be intelligent. And intelligence here is just really about understanding from a core, deep level. Not necessarily intellectual understanding, cleverness, book smarts, anything like that. It's just core level understanding, because Leo and the sun represent the soul. So that's pre-mind in essence. You know, the soul exists outside the mind, outside the body. And before the mind, we have intelligence. Intelligence is the basis of right thinking, of wisdom, of all of that. We need the basic intelligence, which is related to the soul level. Creativity is very strong with Leo, because the sun, right? With the sun comes life. Without the sun, there is no life. And life is the ultimate creativity. It's creative, it creates, right? And that's also why we have in the 5th house the association with children, because that's the creative force, right? The creative force is very powerful with Leo. They radiate light. I mean, if you've ever been around a Leo, unless they're afflicted, there are afflicted Leos who have some negative, it could be Saturn or Chiron or something else that's messing with their light. They're just so bright, Leos. They're so bright and shiny, and they just make people feel good, like a bright sunny day does, right? And that's one of the reasons they can get away with being so egotistical and prideful, is because people let them, because it's forgiven. It's like when you're receiving that much light from a Leo, from a well aspected Leo planets, it's like, okay, go ahead and be egotistical and prideful, because we love what you do for us. Like we love that energy. We love the sunlight. It's very nourishing to be around a healthy Leo, right? It feels good, right? So they can get away with it, and that's why they have this issue with ego and pride. Sometimes they can get away with too much of that. Vitality comes with the sun, with Leo, with the soul signification. Just tremendous vitality, brightness. Like I said, their aura, their energy is just radiating brightness. Right? They have a kingly or queenly kind of air to them. They feel like royalty. To them, they feel themselves like they are royalty, and they exude this, and they behave like royalty, and they could probably fulfill that role to some extent. With that can come a sense of haughtiness, obnoxious kind of behavior, peering down your nose to others, thinking you're better than other people, that kind of, holier than thou, better than thou. I'd say holier than that belongs to Pisces, but just like better, feeling better than others. That's really a Leo thing. Now, if you get Leo and Pisces together, that's a real doozy, but we'll talk about Pisces later. Warmth, very generous and warm. Leo represents the heart, right? It's the warmth of the heart, whereas Cancer is like the emotional, loving capacity of the heart. Leo is the big brightness of the heart, the big-heartedness, the generous quality, the willing to, like, whoever's in their circle, they want to take care of and shine the light on and be generous and give gifts to. And of course, they want attention in return. They love attention. They love compliments. And if you don't compliment them, they'll compliment themselves. There are some Leos, especially Leo Venus, I've noticed, they love to compliment themselves. If you compliment them, they'll follow it up with another compliment to themselves, right? They won't compliment you, or they will maybe begrudgingly, but they'll compliment themselves first, many more times before they compliment you, right? They have a general high sense of self-esteem, or at least on the surface. We might uncover some things when we look at the Ascendant chart, but they do appear to have a very high self-esteem. And often it can be, and again, this depends on the evolution of the Leo, how mature or immature they are, but they can be entitled, right? They can just feel like they both deserve things more than others. They deserve, all the things, whatever they are, they deserve it, right? They feel like they need to win because just for showing up, because that's a very, it's a Leo thing. They feel entitled just for who they are, right? They're Leo, of course they should win. They love to be the center of attention, and the whole, idea, the analogy or symbolism of the sun is that there's one sun and it shines on everyone and everything, right? And the parallel to that is the Leo on stage with the spotlight on them, and they're radiating their light out to everyone else. That could take several forms, like drama, being on stage, being an actor or an actress, being a teacher, or just performing in front of others, right? Whatever it is, or just like, having a bunch of friends and you're sitting there telling your story and all the friends are gathered around listening to you. That's a very Leo kind of thing. Wherever they can be the center of attention with the spotlight on them, Leos love that, right? And naturally they have admirers because of that same sort of thing. Leo at the center, admirers all around, and you call them whatever they want. It can be different things. Like it could be the audience, they could be friends, they could be students, they could be, whatever, harm, I don't know, entourage, right? Leos have this big red manes a lot of times, not always. They can be bald too, but especially Leo Ascendant, they're gonna have like the big hair, and a lot of times it will be red. It'll look like a lion's mane. Drama, for the same reason, they do well on stage, they do well soaking up the spotlight. Drama follows them. They can be very dramatic, especially when you get some of the more dramatic signs. Like, Mars and Leo, when they get angry, it's showtime. I have Mars and Leo. It's showtime whenever we get angry. Get out the fireworks. Get some people to watch, because we're gonna put on a big show and it's gonna be dramatic. Moon in Leo too, Sun in Leo, any of the planets in Leo, Venus in Leo, Jupiter in Leo. There's a sense of self-actualization with Leo, because that's ultimately, again, about the actualization of the ego. So they're very self-actualizing, meaning that they can really, their sense of self is very well developed, right? Again, the heart is very well developed with Leo, and so is courage and bravery, right? The sense of like, chivalry, the knight in shining armor coming to save the day. That's also very much a Leo thing, because they can fight, Leos, and they will fight more for a sense of pride and honor. rather than, like a Scorpio will fight for survival, right? Leos will fight for honor. They will fight defending somebody's honor or their own honor, fighting for their woman, for their children, fighting for whatever cause they deem is worthy. And so there's this natal inherent integrity and dignity with a Leo, right? That honor bound, pride, keep your head up, fight for what's right, right? They're very creative, and oftentimes we consider the arts and all the artistic performances and all the arts in general to be very much in the realm of Leo. But one of the things about Leo is that they're not as original or as unique as they could be. See, that's not inherent with creativity. Creativity in this Leo sense is not necessarily the most original or unique, right? Because they're opposite Aquarius, right? And Aquarians really hold the ability to be extremely unique, right? That's their realm. Leos, we have creativity, but not necessarily originality or uniqueness. That would come from, again, Aquarius and Pisces. Also, Pisces have the deep creativity. It's deep. Both Pisces, 12th house, 5th house, and Leo have the creative ability, but it's different. Leos are very creative, but not as deeply, authentically original. And like it's a much deeper creativity when we get to Pisces, right? So that's one of the things about Leo. It can lack originality or uniqueness. They themselves and what they create. They're natural leaders, right? And especially when it comes to social realms or entertainment areas. They can be leaders in other areas, but if you think about it, it's like royalty, king and queen. King and queen are leaders, but they don't so much play a role when it comes down to like the nitty-gritty leadership. Like we don't have that anymore because we've evolved past that. It's more of a Capricornian role, right? Capricorns are the actual physical material leader. They're the ones running the show, the Capricorns, right? The paradigm of the Capricorn, the archetype. Leo is more like the figurehead. They're more like the front man. They're going to be the fake leaders, not fake leaders, but you know what I mean? Like they're going to be leading in a more social context or for entertainment purposes, for artistic purposes. That's a different kind of leadership than the Capricornian leadership, who's actually getting down to making the laws, writing the laws, enforcing the laws, being judges and juries and things like that, being the CEOs, things like that. So like Leos can be like the spokesman of a company or a nation or whatever group, but not the actual one who's behind the scenes, really leading the way. Again, so yeah, okay. They can be very charismatic naturally with their light, with their aura. It's just naturally radiating charisma and presence. Incredible stage presence is often found with Leo. They're just born to be in front of people on stage. They love it. Naturally talented at everything, basically. Number 5, it just has such a well-rounded nature that they can just be good at everything. Not necessarily exceptional, not necessarily, skills of the hands like Gemini, or, deep psychology, like, or any of the specializations that the other signs are. They're just good at everything, right? They have a natural dignity, and they're very loyal as well. Leos, if you've won their allegiance, they will fight for you, again, with their honor and their pride, their chivalry, and they will protect what's theirs. Okay, let me share my screen again, and we'll go over the ascendant. And this is to explain not only the rising sign, which I said before, but it gives us further insight into Leo nature in general. So if you have a Leo sun, Leo moon, Leo rising, Leo Mercury, Leo Venus, Leo anything, Leo Mars, Leo Jupiter, Saturn, anything, Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, it's all going to draw from this, right? We're looking deeper into the Leo sign to figure out the secret hidden parts when we look at the Leo on the ascendant. And this is my son's chart. I'm just using it because he has a Leo ascendant. His Leo ascendant is very close to Regulus, by the way, which is the same as Donald Trump's chart. So, hey, and look at that, North Node conjunct Sun and Jupiter. Well, it's in the 6th house in Aquarius, but hey, maybe he'll be like the next Alex Jones or something. Anyway. All right, so we know about Leo because we just talked about Leo. Leo in the 1st represents all the things I just said. But Virgo in the 2nd. So the 2nd house is going to relate to family, knowledge, assets, wealth, sense of value, sense of worth. So remember I said that they have like this very high self-esteem. Virgo is not one to be really egotistical in the way that Leo is. They can be very self-effacing, very self-critical, critical of others, critical of themselves. So here we realize that Leos do have a hidden insecurity. Their sense of self-worth is very dependent upon their Virgo perfectionism. It can be, they can easily be wounded on the self-worth front, if they don't have enough money, or if they don't have family, or if they don't have enough knowledge about a certain subject, because 2nd house is also knowledge, right? So this is a very hardworking sign. So they're going to be very studious. They're going to be very critical thinking in regards to these things. Their knowledge is going to be well vetted and analyzed. What they know, they're going to know very well, because Virgo here is going to work hard to make sure that they know what they know. And they're going to work hard to gain money and to gain assets, and they're going to be very critical of their family, and they're going to want a very clean and proper, family. They're going to want to make sure that their family is well, respected, like, well, they're clean and proper and pure and like all the Virgo things, healthy. They want a good, clean family, hardworking, strong family. So yeah, there can be a bit of insecurity here with, Leos, more than you'd expect with this. Their sense of self-worth can take a hit at times. So yeah, and if you criticize them, even if it doesn't show on the surface because of Leo, they're going to take a hit. They're going to feel bad about it because, Virgo can be very critical of itself. And if you get it right, if you get the right criticism, they'll take it seriously, and it'll hit them hard, and they'll work on that. Libra in the 3rd house, and remember, we're just dealing with the signs here because your quadrant houses can be very late in the sign, and therefore most of the quadrant house will be in the next sign. But we're just doing by the signs here. So Libra 3rd house, they're going to be very, fair and balanced and just with their friends and neighbors and siblings, and they're going to be very social because Libra is very social sign. They're going to want like friendships and partnerships with all that, with the neighbors, and casual. They can do business with all the locals. They're gonna be great. They're gonna know, like, they're very friendly neighbors, talkative neighbors, fair neighbors, right? And media, communication, expression, they're gonna be very good on that, right? If you see like a Leo, like on stage performing or speaking, writing, they're going to be great at that because Libra is natural. It's an air sign, so it's just very good, very well fitting. And if you'll notice, all the fire houses have fire signs, right? And all the earth houses have earth signs, and all the air houses have air signs, right? So Libra in the house of Gemini is just going to be, great for intellect, great for all the skills of the third house, smart, intellectual. That's why Leos are so talented. They just have, and all the fire signs are really, but they just have all the right combinations for things. It's not as unique as some of the other ones, because then we get the more nuanced things. When you have like the air signs in the water houses, that's really unique and different, or in any of the combinations. But they have all the water signs and water houses, fire signs and fire houses, and so forth. Scorpio in the fourth house. All I can say is don't mess with a Leo in their home, because Scorpio is dangerous. Scorpio is the most dangerous sign. I mean, Aries is the most hot-headed, but Scorpio is actually the most lethal and deadly and dangerous. Aries might kill you in the passion of the moment, but I mean, the water signs, they might not, Aries probably won't kill you. They'll probably get mad and yell at you and maybe break something or punch you, but the water signs will kill you if that's what they, see as necessary. Anyway, don't mess with a Leo in their home. Don't mess with their home in general. They're going to want a very, a lot of deep, powerful things in there. They're going to have a lair. They're, if it's a male Leo, they might have a man cave, in the basement. They're going to, this is where they're going to be very sexual, of course, at home at night, in the middle of the night. Leos can be very sexual. And they're going to be fierce in their home, and they're going to be very fertile in their home, and powerful, right? Sagittarius in the fifth house. Now here they're going to be wild and adventurous, and they're going to take their kids on adventures. They're going to go on holiday to exotic places, and it's going to be great fun. And they're going to be very big minded when it comes to creativity and philosophical about all the creative things, about all the fun things. They generally are very optimistic when it comes to fifth house things. They're going to want to go on adventures all the time, with their kids, without their kids, on romance, with their loved one, with their partner. Yeah, very, very big in that whole arena. Sixth house Capricorn. They take their work serious and they make formidable enemies, right? You do not want to become an enemy, because here they have the full might of that Capricornian leadership and seriousness. They can, they can be lawyers, judges, or authority policemen themselves, because they're very authoritarian in their daily routines. They're no nonsense. They're hard workers. They take this very serious. Work is serious for Leos. Daily work is their where they have a lot of authority, so they can naturally play have leadership roles or managerial roles at work. They can rise to the top on that area. They do have those strong leadership qualities again, right? But it's not. But it's in the sixth house, so it's not as it's not like Capricorn Ascendant or Capricorn on the MC, which would be what? That would be Taurus, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, so very serious about work, and they can really last a long time in work, right? Because Saturn makes things endure, right? So they can keep a job for a long time. They can just be very steady, stable workers. Okay. And like I said, very formidable opponents in battle, because Saturn is just takes things so seriously, and can really be Mars is exalted in Capricorn, for example. So you know, they can be very fierce warriors. Aquarius in the 7th, they have a strong need for freedom, and they attract Aquarian types in relationship. Do not try to hold down a Leo, because they just need to be free and rebellious and unique and experimental with their relationships. What was I going to say? I just had something on the tip of my tongue I totally forgot about. They are very accepting of others, of other people's uniqueness because of this as well. So you can, you know, a Leo or Leo Ascendant, Leo anything, really loves unique people. And they love people to be totally themselves and unique, and they can accept them for who they are, which is very opposite to themselves. Leos generally are not that unique. They have this tremendous bright light, but they're not that unique. So they like unique people, and they like a lot of freedom in relationships. And yeah. Okay, let's move on. Neptune in the 8th, or sorry, Neptune, Pisces in the 8th. So Pisces in the 8th will give great 8th house significations. I mean, because it's water. So it's like their occult knowledge, their occult awareness, their psychic ability, their sense of their sexuality. Very, you know, it's all heightened and amplified because Pisces fits very well in the 8th house. So they can have this great sense of all these things. It's not going to give a tremendous intellectual understanding of 8th house things, like if it were like an air 8th house, you know, like if you have water on the ascendant, water sign, it's going to give an air water houses. So air water houses give tremendous intellectual understanding of 8th house matters. But here we just have a feeling on top of feeling. So like the like predictive, they can be like psychic predictive, psychically predictive, tarot card readers, or things like that, where you need more intuition and feeling about the occult matters. It can become also criminally minded because there's just too much water here. Pisces in the 8th house, other people's money, lack of boundaries. You can see where that leads to. Just wanting, you know, just being like, you know, having some delusional perspective that other people's money is their money too, and they can just help themselves to it because they're entitled, right? Potentially dangerous. Drugs, sex, and alcohol obviously can be seen here. So there are some pitfalls and some dangers. You know, if they get knocked down, if they're number of one planet or more in the 8th house, and they get knocked down by the 8th house, because that's what the 8th house does. It just periodically knocks you down and, you know, crushes your ego and kills you a little bit on the inside, or a lot. They can become very depressed and victimized. I mean, Pisces is one of the signs that lends itself to a sense of victimhood, victimization, right? So you're not going to keep them down for long because they got too much fire, but they can go into very deep depressive states depending on the planet's aspects and whatnot, and feel totally like, just poor me, oh, poor me. Anyway, they're going to bounce back very quickly because Aries is in the 9th house. So these people are inspired and inspirational and infectious and aggressively enthusiastic about life. And they just have this gung-ho attitude and let's go on an adventure and let's do it. And yes to life. They're so inspiring and inspirational, inspired. They can inspire others with their enthusiasm towards life. This is the Jupiterian house, the house of luck, the house of adventure, the house of philosophy and religion. They can make great preachers and philosophers and teachers of higher knowledge because they're just so Aryan about these things, right? The spark and the fire, they can really inspire others, right? And that's one of the great qualities of Leo, their ability to have this tremendous Aries fire starting ability with 9th house matters. Infectious enthusiasm, right? In the 10th house, they have Taurus, so they can go into careers of all the Taurian things, right? First of all, they appear their public image is very beautiful and luxurious, right? Leos just have this natural public image of luxury, oozing luxury and beauty, right? Sensuality. That's all the Taurus in the 10th house, right? And money and wealth and just good taste, good quality. They can exude all of that, and they can be involved in any of the, beauty, fashion, design, arts, creativity, money, finance, anything like that, anything natural or nature oriented, or number crunchers. Taurus is the sign of the number cruncher, accountants, people dealing with facts and figures, or teachers. Again, Taurus makes great teachers as well. They have a wealth of knowledge, or voice, singing, right? Speaking, singing, all that. So a lot of possibilities for Taurus, or for Leo Ascendant. Gemini in the 11th. They, again, air and air sign and air house. They're brilliant networkers, brilliant marketers, brilliant at their friend circles, getting around within the social circles. They just have this, intellectually, adaptable way of maneuvering, and they can just network, and they just know everyone. Leos know everyone because of this. And they can be great with technology, because 11th house is the original house of Aquarius. So technology, the internet, depending on what's here, if they have a bunch of planets in the 11th house, they can go into computers, they can go into internet and technology and programming and all that stuff, all the high-end technology they can be great at. And they can be great at they can be very business minded as well. So a lot can be seen through this. Sales and marketing and networking, all that stuff. Cancer in the 12th. Now we know Leos are generous, but we really see their true hidden motivations by the 12th sign. One of the things people forget about the 12th sign is that it's actually a twin of the first sign, in that all the houses can be looked at in pairs. You can find pair groupings, but the pair grouping for 1st and 12th is conscious mind, subconscious mind. So in a sense, the 1st and the 12th together really are what show the nature of the individual, the self, right? Here we have others, but here we have self, and then the 7th is others. Here's the 12th, subconscious. Here we have the 6th, which is serving others, right? The 6th is actually a house of others. It's an imbalanced house of others, as the 6th and 8th are imbalanced houses of others, where here we're serving others, and here we like to have power over others, and here we like to have equality with others, right? Understand that? Service to others, or sometimes competition and fighting others, but it's still an imbalance with others. Here we have the balance with others, and here we have, again, imbalance with others, where we're having power over others, or others may be having power over us, right? So 6th and 8th has that imbalance with others. But here we have the self, the main indication of the self, and here we have the subconscious indication of self. They also call this the house of collective unconscious, because really when we're talking about unconscious, there is no boundaries. And Pisces is the sign of the no boundaries, right? So that carries through. When there's no boundaries to your own subconscious, can spread over to others. And that's also why we have psychic tendencies from the 12th house. But with Cancer in the 12th house, what that's showing is that they really care about other people. Sorry, something distracted me. They have their subconscious is full of this kind of love, right? A Cancerian love, especially when it comes to family and children, friends, those who become part of their circle, right? Leos are very generous and caring and loving and nurturing. And as prideful and as egotistical as they can be, we forgive them, because we get a sense that they really, really do care. And they do. at the end of the day, Leos care about those who are within their realm, their circles, their family, their friends, their partner, their lover, their children, their whole entourage. As long as you give them enough attention, they're gonna love you, right? And that's kind of the thing. I mean, you got to treat them like Leos, but then they love you. So that's Leos. I mean, the fire signs, in a sense, are the most simple because they have all the houses in the fire in the fire houses, earth in the earth houses, air in the air houses, and water in the water houses. So they're not as nuanced as some of the other signs. Like Aries, we saw, was incredibly simple. I didn't even go through the houses because they're just the basic significations of those houses amplified, right? First house means first house, second house means second house, third house means third house. They're just amplified. And in a sense, with Leo, it's the same thing. We're getting a little more nuance because we're getting the different air signs or water signs in the water houses, right? So there's a little more nuance to Aries than there is to Leo than there is to Aries, and to Sagittarius than there is to Aries, but they're still quite simple. Fire signs are the most straightforward, least nuanced, least dynamic. So as much as we love them, they're not going to be as complicated. Fire signs are simple in that sense. They're more powerful because it's doubled up. Everything is water in a water sign, air in an air sign, earth in an earth sign, fire in the fire sign, right? Or houses, right? So it's everything is multiplied but less nuanced at the same time. So that's one of the qualities that we get with the fire signs. All the other ones are going to be more complicated because they're they have different ones with different. And then when we get to Libra, it's going to be opposite. Everything's opposite, right? Everything contains its opposite with Leo. With Libra, that's why they're the sign of balance and fairness, and that has its own kind of stagnant quality as well, which we'll get to. But this was Leo, all about Leo and Leo archetype, Leo ascendant. All right, that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Go to my website, typicalreading, macroastrology.com. Thanks, and I'll see you soon. Bye.